Evening, everyone. Welcome to On Deck here on FTSN. I'm Russ Morgan here on a nice Sunday. Little World Series game 1 and 2 recap. First two games. Had first game on Friday. Was pretty entertaining game. Pretty good pitching matchup. Dodgers took game 1 6-3. Last night, not as much. Dodgers took that 4-1, but pretty big numbers on both sides, trying to get what Fox said it drew 15.2 million viewers for Game 1, the largest since 2017, a 62% increase from last year's Arizona Diamondbacks Texas Rangers opener. The audience peaked at 17.8, so in big numbers. That's nice to see it come back. Kind of something I thought would happen with these two teams, historic franchises, and historic World Series franchise, historic franchise, both from two big media markets. But we had a solid game 1, very very entertaining. Obviously, I'm a little pissed off, but I think it was definitely a great game. Obviously, Dodgers won 6-3. Jack Flaherty kicked it off for the Dodgers. The performance I saw from Flaherty was definitely not one I was expecting. Really solid performance. 6 Ks going 5 1/3, 2 earned runs, but that was a lot of just giving up one to Stanton, where Stanton kind of fouled off a couple of his off-speed pitches. And then finally, after seeing 3 or 4 of those off-speed pitches, he finally took it deep to left field. But he looked solid really early, kind of making silly of some of those Yankee hitters besides Juan Soto. And that's a big plus for the Dodgers, because if you're saving that bullpen, you're gonna have to. You're going to bullpen game on Tuesday, game 4, so that's big. Dodgers do have a really strong bullpen. Bullpen did a solid job that night too, only allowing 1 run, 7 Ks. On the other hand,
can you hear me? Hello. You can't.
Garrett Cole on the other side.
You're late. Oh, stop it, Steve.
Steve
Posner.
And
I'm not tardy. I'm producing another show as I'm doing this.
He goes 6 1/3, giving him 1 run, 4
baseball
hits.
on deck.
He was pulled after 66, a weak kind of single from, I think it was Kike Hernandez.
I don't know, but he wanted to react to 2 games. He's pissed off about the Yankees and all that. I told him it's cool, no big deal. I told him I'll check in on him in the 40 minutes. I said when I have you on with me, I can mute myself and just take care of him and then come back in. It's no big deal. Okay.
Very weird. They pulled him.
Let's have some fucking fun.
He was looking really
fucking
solid.
Losers.
And he was looking really solid, dialed in. I wouldn't have pulled him. I'm a little angry about that decision.
Did you like my title? I go 2 returns. Don't matter.
Brings in Clay Holmes, and definitely Clay Holmes gives up that sack fly. But
wasn't it 27?
He only a wild pitch. He hits.
Did I? No, I didn't fix that then.
I don't know if I would pull.
What did I write that? Let me see.
I don't know.
Okay.
Pull Garrett Cole in that sense. This is your dude. You paid $300 plus $20 million, and he was.
All right.
It's your guy. You live and die with them. So it was a little early, and I go with Derek Jeter on that one, where Jeter said, you paid this guy so much, you live and die with them. I'm 100% agree with that. I think it's just another case of Boone mismanaging. He overthinks things. You don't go to the bullpen. You just let him ride. It wasn't like it was a strong hit.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Miami Dolphins FTSN post-game show. I'm Bobby Inside, joined by the one and only Finn Stanza. Guys, holy crap. Tua returns. Finally. And Tua is back. QB1 is back, and what a day. 28-38, 234 yards, touchdown. Devon A-Chain rushes for 97 yards. Tyreek Hill catches 6 passes,
on that side,
goes for 72 yards, 50 yards, a touchdown for Devon Chin.
You bring in.
It don't matter. We still lost. The Dolphins still found a way to lose. I mean, my goodness, my good gracious.
Luke Weaver,
Dolphins fall 2-5 on the season.
Who did a phenomenal
job. We're here
job
again talking about another Miami
anybody
Dolphins
out there.
loss.
I mean, my thing was,
can I do it better with than my brother?
I mean, you did Tommy Kaling,
who tried to call me after the game, but I totally shut everything off. I walked away. Went to go, I went to relax for a little bit because still dealing with my own stuff. But then went and go play with my kids and just was happy. And I blew out my brother in NCAA football. I did his I felt good. I felt better again. But here we are. So Steve Malloy, yes, I'm late. I'm sorry. It was on me. Appreciate you though watching, brother. Back it up, Binge Podcast. Knock who's there in the playoffs, and then Orion. As long as McDaniel's the play caller, we are going to keep on losing.
He's gone.
So much reaction, so much to do. Plenty of time. But before then, guys, I want to thank you all for tuning in wherever you're tuning in. Hit that like and subscribe button, even if you don't like what's going to be said. The truth is, the truth hurts. And Steve Malloy is not shy to tell the truth. Stan's is not shy to say his truth or the truth. And I ain't shy to say the truth either. And guess what? What did we say, Finstanza?
I mean, it was a solid day for the Dodgers.
It was bigger than the quarterback. The issues are bigger than the quarterback. The issues popped out their ugly head. I.e., why the hell is Julian Hill still on this football team? My goodness, good gracious. I don't know if you saw that play. I know you were coaching, and you're being dad of the year up in Canada. You were doing your job, and I'm first off, I'm proud of you, but also I feel for you. I feel for you. It's lucky for you didn't get to see that. I did. It looked like a touchdown. I jumped up from my seat. It was a nice little flick from Tua. Guys, creative play. Fumble right before the end zone. Cardinals get the ball.
That was massive.
You can't make this shit up.
So that
Sorry, this stuff up.
We get in.
How the hell this guy is still on the football team? I'll never know.
10th, we go to the 10th. Steal second.
This was a winnable football game. The Dolphins had it won. They had it won. Yet they literally fumbled it away. How many times last year did I hear Connor Williams is the issue? Snapping issues. Oh man, we need a new center. Connor Williams. Connor Williams can't snap the ball. Well, hold on a second. There was a big-ass 2 snapping issues. One was recovered. The second one was thrown over to his head for a safety. Now the Dolphins are 2-5. They lost 28-27 to another bad football team. But don't worry. It's only 1 week. Tua just got back. Hey, who are we playing next week? Where's the schedule? Who are we playing? Evan, help me here.
I don't know if I can talk over Bobby and you can hear me.
The Buffalo freaking Bills.
I don't know
if anybody thinks that the Miami Dolphins are going to beat the Buffalo Bills as they've been performing up to this point, I don't know what you're smoking.
Verdugo with that unbelievable catch. Would you bring in Nestor?
I know what some people are going to say. It was a close game.
We get that first.
It was close. We had it. It was just a few little things.
I know. I'm sorry.
This was ridiculous.
I'm trying to figure
something out. You gave it up. 4 fumbles. Accountability for everybody. As the great Cap for Life will say, our brother, he doesn't do shows. He comes on here for us, but I consider Cap to be a part of the FTSN family. He's been with us long enough. And our brother for FTSN has said plenty of times this season, no more excuses.
Another time because we're trying to do
I don't want to hear injuries. I don't hear anything. The Dolphins let it down. That's why, right there. Well, how the hell is Julian Hill?
He's locked in on the Dolphins. I'm locked in on ripping Aaron Boone.
In front of
I hope you can hear me. I want to talk louder, I guess.
Right now, Finstanza. Yeah, Jonnu Smith or Durham Smythe or whatever. But not that Durham Smythe's anything great, but you just cut Hayden Hurchie and kept Julian Hill.
I'm going to figure this out. All right.
Listen, I didn't read any of the press conferences. I didn't see any of them. Could care less. I don't want to hear any excuses
I'm
from them. It's probably the same old. But guess what, guys?
I mean,
Dolphins are 2-5. They'll be 2-6 after next week.
Cortez gets that for Jace Cousins.
Cue the graphics. And that's all I'm going to say. Well, it's not all I'm going to say. We're going to talk so much more. But Vincenza, how are you? Did you win your hockey game at least?
And you bring him in. He gets that nice out to against Ohtani. Verdugo gets that nice. He makes that nice catch. Sorry, we're doing right now. We're doing two things going off at once. We're trying to multitask on the network. I guess I don't have a louder voice than the Dolphins guys over there. Are a little fired up. Well, I'm a little fired up. I'm getting it from both ends on my team, so we figured it out. But yeah, I'm getting it from both ends. You know, they're fired up. Their Dolphins lost. I got it from both ends because I'm a Yankees fan. I'm pissed off. And my producer forgot to mute, so you heard him. He's fired up. The Dolphins lost a tough one to the Cardinals. I'm fired up. I mean, the Yankees down 0-2, bad loss. And then I'm a Jets fan too, so I'm pissed off about that because they lose that. Was it Babs? If I'm in, I don't know either. But I mean, my question is, I was really angry. Obviously, you bring in, you had Cousins. I think it was Cousins. Yeah, it was Cousins. I'm correct. You had Cousins, gets that first down. You bring in Nestor Cortez to face Ohtani. Ohtani gets it. I will always be a Yankees fan, Pedro. I will always be a Yankees fan. I live and die with my teams. All right. I'm sorry, you got two teams, you got no teams. Forever. I don't care. I've been riding with my New York Jets since the day I was born in 1991, and it has been pain and suffering. And I will ride with them. And it's been good for the Yankees a lot, but, for my early part of my life. But since 2009, we haven't won much. We had 96. I didn't really remember a whole lot of 96. 97, a little bit more. 98's first year. I'll always be a Yankees fan. But my question is, Ohtani, you get Ohtani out on there, you get 2 outs, you walk Betts. Would you pitch to Betts? Second, why is Aaron Boone bringing Nestor Cortez in there? The guy hasn't pitched since September 8th. You bring him in, you got Tim Hill. Hey, you guys had a couple good years run. You had Tim Hill, who was your dude through the whole series, through the whole ALCS. You were dude, and he comes from a funky arm angle. You bring in Cortez, you throw him in a situation, and obviously he serves one up to Freddie Freeman. I mean, that ball was served up on a platter, and he obviously. I just don't. I think he's too analytical. He doesn't go with his gut. He should. I mean, he should have went with Hill. He was this guy. He pitched every single game in the ALCS. He comes from a funky arm angle. It's just there's no. I get analytics need to be played in baseball. But I see it being played too much in the playoffs. There's got to be some gut feeling. I see it with Dave Roberts too. You can't always, even in his post-game press conference, he goes, "I like the matchup. He looked good leading it up to this." Excuse me, what the fuck does that mean? It'll only get you. I'm sorry. What the fuck does that mean? He's been good leading up to this. He's been throwing simulated games, not against real hitters. Simulated games. He hasn't pitched in a big game situation, and you're setting him up to fail. Hill's been your dude the whole time, but it goes off to the first thing he did when he brings in pulls Garrett Cole after he's given up 4 hits. He's been unhittable. You paid this guy like $320+ million. You live and die with him. The captain said it best. You paid him to win these big games. Keep him in. It wasn't like you ripped one off. And you walk. I'm sorry. I don't care how beat up Freddie Freeman is. He's the biggest X factor in there. This guy's been since he's been with the Braves. This guy's a baseball player. He knows how to hit. He's not a home run hitter. Guy doesn't even try to hit home runs in batting practice. He goes gap to gap. And you serve him up on the platter. I think it set Nestor Cortez up to fail. It was a terrible decision. But there was a lot of stuff in that game that, played out. Tommy Edman was massive in that game. The guy saved at least 3 runs. His shortstop was amazing. You had the ball in right field where Soto takes a bad angle and keeps it going by. What happens? Teoscar Hernandez scores. I'm with you. You have to play him 13 times a year. That's tough. I mean, you guys had some great years in San Francisco up there. Pedro, thanks for joining. Babs, thanks for joining. If I'm right. I will, it's one of the best moments in World Series history. A guy who can barely run. And he's, Freddie Freeman is just a baseball player. And I even heard of one of my dad's best friends is from he's from New York, big huge Mets fan. And if you know anything about the Mets fans are nuts. They know everything. And he literally he texted my dad. He goes, there's probably not one single manager in the NL who would walk Mookie Betts to get to Freddie Freeman. And I 100% agree. But Freeman's the biggest X factor. This guy just gets base hits. He gets it done. Nice. Upstate New York. I'm actually from Los Angeles, California. I grew up 50 minutes from – I grew up in Van Nuys, California, which is in the San Fernando Valley. I moved to the South Bay, south of LAX. My dad is from Yonkers, Bronxville, New York, which if anybody not from New York know is actually in the Bronx, and he was a massive Yankees fan. His guy's Thurman Munson. So I went with his teams, and hey, he grew up going to Shea Stadium watching Joe Namath. So I got saddled with the Jets. I wouldn't change it for the world. I love being a Jets fan. It's pain and suffering, but I don't want to be a Giants fan. I'm sorry. I want to be a Jets fan. I love it. I know it's very painful, but I always grew up with the Yankees. Oh yeah, went to hey, I don't yes, they do have to win tomorrow. I always grew up with you either go with your hometown teams or you go with your family. And I went with my family. I'm all about family. I went with my dad's teams. He never forced it on me, and my brother never forced us to be a Yankees or Jets fan. I always went that way, and that's how it is. But Anaheim Hills, actually, if you didn't know, Garrett Cole actually went to school in Orange County, California, Orange Lutheran, which is actually a school I coached at. He graduated high school in 2008. It was 2010. I was there in 2016, 2017. And obviously I didn't, he's older than me, but I knew guys who played with Garrett Cole. When I was there, and still now they're a top 10 nationally ranked. Yes, Cole's dad's from Syracuse too. A lifelong Yankee fan. I'm sure he was pissed off Aaron Boone took him out of that game, but he top 10 high school nationally ranked team. Actually, it was in the top 5 for a while, right up there with IMG right here where I am. I'm in Sarasota, Florida. That's in Bradenton, Florida. But got to coach some great players such as, Garrett Mitchell's, starting center fielder, Milwaukee Brewers. I got to coach with him. Didn't coach him much. He didn't need much coaching. Got to throw him a lot of batting practice, which was fun. But he was a top 10 pick after he went to UCLA, so it was great. But I know Anaheim Hill's great. Went to a lot of Yankee games at Angel Stadium when I grew up. Was actually at Game 3 of the wild card round against the Angels. Was one of the worst experiences ever in 2002. But I mean, I think it was my thing was if it's first and second, it's a totally different ball game. You probably pitch to Betts. That's fine. You first and second, you pitch to Betts. They tie it up. But you don't walk them. I think that changed everything. And he served it up on a platter. And I don't blame Nestor. The guy hasn't pitched. Yeah, I know people. It was bad experience. A lot of those thunder sticks, and that was that rally monkey time. So I think it was Angel Stadium is a nice place. When they played the Dodgers in the regular season, Soto was out. But I mean, it's coming down to pitching. It's coming down to moves, and the Yankees aren't hitting. You mentioned earlier what's up with Judge. I think he's overhitting. He's opening it up. So I know a lot of people. You see the New York logo, the third base, and the third base coach see the New York logo. So he's opening up his body, so he can't reach those pitches. I think he's way over his head right now. He needs to start hitting. If the Yankees actually want to come back and win the series, they need Judge. You're not walking. You're not walking Juan Soto if Aaron Judge is making any type of combat. What do they need to do? They got to get. They've let 14 runners in scoring position. They got to hit the ball. They got to get a little more from the bottom. They got to, as much as I love Austin Wells, they got to get him out of the lineup. He's an unbelievable, great defensive catcher. He's an unbelievable defensive catcher. He does an unbelievable job behind the plate, and it's an art to watch a catcher do that. But they need hits. I was calling for Trevino yesterday. I know he flew out yesterday, but at least he made contact. Wells isn't getting the bat off the shoulder half the time. He took a 94-mile-per-hour fastball right down the cut. He's just unbelievable catcher. He's done a phenomenal job, and we saw that a big difference. That was a big part of that the Indian series, the Guardian series, where the guys spiking that lefty spiking balls and Bo Naylor couldn't stop it. So that's a big part. He's a great defensive catcher, but he can't hit shit right now. He's can't get the bat off the shoulder, so they need him. I mean, I was mad. You don't bring in Nestor Cortez, a guy who's been out since September 8th. You don't put him in that situation, especially against Freddie Freeman, where he served it up on a platter. So I mean, the first thing he does, he takes Cole out in the sixth inning after he gives up a bloop single. The guy's rolling. You paid him to be your dude. Roll, live and die with your dude. I see it in a lot of sports. I remember we'll go on a little football rant. I went to the 2017 Rose Bowl. One of my sisters went to University of Oklahoma, so went to the Rose Bowl, University of Oklahoma versus University of Georgia, and they were up big going, in the second quarter. Dumb decision at the end of the second half. What does Lincoln Riley do going into in the second half? He starts, I'm gonna protect this lead. We're gonna run it down. You had Baker Mayfield versus Heisman. You live and die with your Heisman, which was Baker Mayfield. You live and die with Garrett Cole. This is the guy you brought in to win the big games, and he was doing that. And I know what Aaron Boone's going to say. He goes, we want him to pitch game 4. He had 88 pitches. 88 pitches. What, you give him 100, he can pitch game 4 anyways. We saw in 2009, they had a 3-man rotation. It was CeCe Sabathia, AJ Burnett, and Andy Pettit. Throw them on 3 days rest. This is the World Series. We're in New York Yankees. Pennants don't mean shit. since the reason why I laugh is because the Dodgers don't have to face them. I think the National League was a better division this year, definitely, and they had a tougher time. I just you paid this guy to go in. You live in. I see it all the time. I said you saw it a lot with Dave Roberts did it before they won the COVID World Series. They won it. I mean, hey, don't get me wrong. The Dodgers in 2020 are the best team in baseball. Best team in baseball. But you're playing 60-game series, and I think all those titles in those years are kind of asterisk big mute on it. Part of the game, and I hate I hate the Lakers. Part of sports is having to travel and having to deal with the fans. They never had to deal with fans. They never had to travel. I go off on that when the Lakers beat the Heat in that year. I mean, you sit in Orlando, you never have to leave. It's nice, but part of sports is having to deal with the fans. But you definitely saw it, when I got a lot of moments, and it's all good, all good. I appreciate the comments, Pedro. But it's just part of sports for me. For everybody's having to travel, having to deal with the fan experience. We see, Dodgers are coming out, the fans are coming out big, and I'll give Pedro. You can agree with me that the Dodger fan base, I'm sure you'll agree with me, is a loyal fan base. They might be the only team in Los Angeles who comes out and supports the Dodgers week in, week in, week out. Doesn't matter if they're good or bad. They support them. You don't see that now. You don't see what the Lakers are bad. They come out. Dodgers have a loyal fan base. Hey, let's go Warriors. I'm sorry, you had your good run. It might be over now. But I do love, as Steph annoys me a little bit, but I do love Steph. He's an unbelievable player. I love Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. As much of an asshole he is, I love it because he's kind of one of those old school guys from the 80s and 90s. Is I'm gonna get in your head. Guy shit talks no matter what. It's hilarious and it's great, and I love him. So I think that's his job. He's kind of one of those old school. Also, yeah, I think Dodgers. I don't get me started on Dodgers fans. I have a lot of Dodgers fans, and they know baseball. I don't think they're the brightest fan base in the world, in my opinion. But I give them. I think they're a loyal fan base, and they support their team. But Boone kills me, and I brought it up on Wednesday. I don't, 2017, we lose to the Astros in 7 games. In 7 games, Joe Girardi does a phenomenal job. We lose the Astros in 7 games. He gets fired that year. This is year 8 for Aaron Boone. This is first time to get the World Series. We're the New York Yankees. We don't play for. Yeah. All right. I don't want to get in on the. I have a whole other opinion on that. I mean, it bugs me. I do. Yeah, I think that's one of the nice. I'm going to go on the Astros and Pedro. I think I don't want to get too much on the Astros, honestly. I have a whole different opinion on that. When I have some more time, I want to get on that because I want to get – yes, they did admit it, but, there's a lot of cheaters in baseball. But, I mean, I think I do, Pedro. I 100% agree with you. Pac Bell, whatever they call it now, is – I'll get that more when I have more time on Wednesday. If come back will be 7:30 Eastern on Wednesday. I'll dive into that. I want to get on the game, but I do love. I don't know what they call it now. Pac Bell, one of the nicest stadiums I've ever been in my life. It's gorgeous. But I think I'm just angry. Aaron Boone's getting so much leeway, and I think he's just a yes man. He does what the front office wants, and that's why he's playing with his. You can't in the playoffs. You can't look at your. Oh, well, I got this matchup. Go with the hot freaking hand. So it just bugs me, and I think he lost that game. You don't put Nestor in that situation. We got to clean up the errors. You got to get some base hits. Going into game 2, George is definitely rolling. Don't give me – his son is not half the man George. George would have fired him in a heartbeat. Big Boss is rolling for sure. But, you go into game 2, Rondon, Yamamoto. I mean, I think what the Yankees had going into this series was having strength of pitching. That starting pitching should be better, but Yamamoto was the same thing with Flaherty. He goes six in the third. He gives up 1 hit, 1 earned, 4 Ks. Really strong, exceeding expectations on their end. And their bullpen, which their bullpen is one of their strengths of that Dodgers team, it's solid besides Blake Trinan, who struggled, giving up 3 hits, 1 run. But, Rondon threw an absolute dud. He surrendered 3 home runs. Edmund's hitting out of his mind. And this guy's definitely one of, the biggest unsung heroes of the Dodgers so far. It's kind of a throw-in. You get him. He hasn't played all year. You get him at the deadline. He still hasn't played. He's with Double-A somewhere, wherever it might be, Birmingham. I don't know. With the White Sox, gets traded. He hasn't played. He comes in. He's massive in game 1. His shortstop single-handedly kept the Dodgers in that game. The Yankees were the better team. They should have won that game. And then, he goes 2 for 4 that game. And then yesterday, homers. And then you give up Hernandez, who homers. And then Freddie Freeman. Right there. Hernandez gets that. Teoscar gets that 2-run bomb. Then Freeman, Edmonds gets 1. Rendon threw an absolute dud. 3 in the third, giving up 4 runs, 6 hits, 3 Ks. I see where he's been up and down all year. That's the problem. I was like, I knew where people were coming on. Rendon had a solid year stats wise, but it was definitely they should have split. It was definitely, Rendon's been up and down. If anybody's watching the Yankees all year, it's been up and down. Up and down all year. His last start against the Guardians was not a solid start. He had high strikeout numbers, but that doesn't matter. We get runners on base. The bullpen cleaned it up for Rendon. They didn't surrender a run the rest of the game. But you get Betts goes 2 for 4. Teoscar Hernandez goes 2 for 4, 2 RBIs, had that huge 2-run home run. Freeman 1 for 4, 1 RBI with that solo in the third. Edmund 2 for 4 with a super swing and a super hot bat. Obviously NLCS MVP. And the guy's doing everything. He's playing center field yesterday. A Yankees offense was absolutely dormant if your name wasn't Juan Soto. Who I think this series shows anything. You give Juan Soto a blank check. But, Rondon definitely – Pedro, you got back. It's definitely a must-win. We're going to have to get a solid start from Clark Schmidt, who's pitching game 3. They should have won game 1. You got game 1 – I don't think a normal person can go, to those. It was like 1,100 for first is up to 1,300 for 1,300 for game 3. It's insane. It's nuts. It's up like 93. You give him blank check. They're not there. I don't care how great Judge is. He's the MVP. He'll be the MVP a couple years ago. He'll be the MVP this year. Soto is the best player on this team, and he's one of the best. Top 3 best hitter in baseball. I don't care if he doesn't have the Ohtani stats. He's the top 3 best hitter in baseball, and we saw that in game 5 playing the Guardians. That was the nicest at bat I've ever seen in my life. It was beautiful. But, it was dormant. He gives up 1 hit, and there was a home run to Juan Soto early. You're down 4-1. The Yankees bats don't really get going until the 9th when you have another Soto single off the wall. Hey, don't worry. I wouldn't be going to them either. The only positive I would say going to the games, if I could afford it right now, is I wouldn't have to listen to Ken Davis and John Smoltz, who are talking the whole freaking time. The whole freaking time. Like, shut the hell up. Let me listen to the game. I don't need another, Judge is doing this at the plate. Talk about the game. Give me some. Hey, Pedro, you're from San Francisco. I grew up with Joe Morgan and John Miller. and obviously Buck and Tim McCarver. And I grew up with Vince Scully, who's just on a whole nother level. But at Pedro, he's from San Francisco. I got John Miller, Joe Morgan, two baseball guys. They talk the game. I got spoiled when I grew up. That's the best thing you're ever going to hear. And then obviously going on the Dodgers side, I grew up in LA, so I got to listen to the best, which is Vince Scully, who was not afraid of silence. But the Yankees offense, it was dormant. If you're not Juan Soto, obviously 2 for 4 in RBI, big home run scored, and again, what the hell was Aaron Judge? Can't hit anything. We need him. He strikes out. Stan smacks that single. If that ball doesn't hit the base, that's an easy stand-up double wave, second and third. Chisholm, who's having a big game, 1 for 4, kept that inning going. Chisholm's great, and the defense Chisholm's playing at third base, which is solid in never position he played in the pros, which it's unbelievable. But we need Wells out of the lineup, and Volpe, who I was kind of going off on, hoping Volpe was starting to get some quality at bats together, and he flailed in the ninth. But the Dodgers, I think the Yankees have toe to toe. I think they're very evenly matched with the Dodgers, but it's not bad. Judge, 0 for 4 yesterday, 3 Ks. He gets the hat trick, narrowly misses that golden sombrero. If the hat trick's probably John Miller's the man. I love John, and that voice is unbelievable. And you're San Francisco, you get to hear that guy every day, which is beautiful. But Judge is 0 for 4, 3 Ks. He gets a hat trick. For baseball, the hat trick, 3 strikeouts. He narrowly misses that golden sombrero, which, if you didn't know, it was that's 4 strikeouts. Guy's 6 for 40. I don't care how great his regular season is. You're a Yankees captain. That's not thrown out. You're thrown out easily. That's not. Listen to some of these names: Lou Gehrig, Garrett Nettles, Thurman Munson, Donnie Baseball, Derek Jeter. You don't come up there and you got to perform. And we all know what these guys, what Jeter did in the playoffs, Thurman Munson, Nettles, Lou Gehrig, for Christ's sake. I don't think I think the Dodgers have a really solid bullpen, really, really solid bullpen, and it's really solid bullpen, and that's their playing in their strength. They definitely are getting that getting 2 quality starts from Jack Flaherty, hometown kid from Harvard Westlake High School in Encino, California, or Studio City. They play Studio City. They play baseball in Encino, and then you get it from Yamamoto, who's the highest paid pitcher in baseball, never throwing a pitch in major leagues. But 2 quality starts. But Judge needs to start hitting. The Yankees to come back and to win. They need Judge. You're giving Soto that protection. Stanton's doing phenomenal. I'm not a Stanton fan. I will rip Stanton until the day I die, and I definitely 100% rip him all the time. I lost my train of thought, and I will say he's been very surprising, but I don't think he's got a much plate discipline. I think he kind of just runs into it. But, he's been one of the biggest parts of the offense. Obviously, I won't, I'm not a fan of Stanton, but hey, the guy's been stepping up huge, and that's what I love to see. Ohtani separates his shoulder yesterday, sliding in the second base late in the game. They heard him on the Japanese podcast, the broadcast that said he heard him say it popped. So it was they said it was like a sub something dislocation. So that means it would pop. It pops out a certain way. If it popped out like down and out, that could be like rotator cuff or fracture, but it didn't pop that way. So he's, they just pop it back in and it'll probably pop back out a handful of times because it's loose, but the guy's going to play. The guy's going to play. Yeah, he's good to go tomorrow. He's definitely good to go. He's going to play through that pain. That's what I, reading from my doctor's notes, the notes from like the articles I'm reading from doctors and seeing videos, as they say, it's just all the way that it pops out. So if it pops out a certain way, if it pops out like this way, down and below, it would it could be like a fracture. It could be a fracture or something like that, and you would have to sew it back together. But the way it popped out, they're just going to pop it back in and help play through the pain. Otani's phenomenal. I think we need Clark Schmidt tomorrow. We need a solid 5-6 innings for Clark Schmidt. We got to score with runners in scoring position. I think we've left 14 on in this whole series so far, so there's way too many. I had a stash going, a little beard and mustache going. I shaved that all off. I'm going with the clean look now. The Yankees mustache is the only facial hair we can grow on the Yankees team, so hopefully you got to change it up. It wasn't going good. I grew up playing baseball my whole life, played all the way through college, was a scout for a while, so it's all about changing things up. I didn't wear the same thing. Oh, happy early birthday. Hey, let's go with the Wells. Maybe it gets Wells going. Maybe it gets Wells going a little bit, get a base knock. But, this is all you can grow. Yankees all you can grow. So, I played baseball my whole life, played all the way to college, scouted and coached baseball. And, you gotta shake things up. If it's not working, change it up. I didn't wear the same thing 2 days in a row when they're winning. I will wear the same thing every time they win. So you got to keep on going like that. We need a solid, clean-shaven face. That's the way to go. Boss man had it the right way. Clean-shaven face. You look good, you play good. But they need a solid 5 innings from Clark Schmidt, and just get that bullpen going. I want to see more. I don't know why Marcus Stroman's not getting an inning in there. He was, obviously didn't have a great year, but he can give you a good couple innings. Give me Stroman. Don't give me Clay Holmes ever again. I don't want to see Clay Holmes. My brother, diehard Yankees fan too. He's a sports former. He was a sports writer. Now he's on the radio for Fox. You don't want to see Holmes again. I 100% agree with him. I don't want to see Holmes again. I put him in the same sentence as Kyle Farnsworth. I don't care if his sinker is good. So I don't want to see him. Give me Stroman. I'm fine with Nestor. I love nasty Nestor, but I wouldn't have thrown him in that situation. But they need, it comes down to, the pitching's been solid. They need to start getting hits. As much as I got to see Trevino in there tomorrow. I don't care if it's a righty-righty matchup. Volpe's got to start hitting. I don't want to hear John Small starting talking about the – I don't want to hear John Smoltz talk about the Derek Jeter. You're the heir apparent to Derek Jeter for Volpe. Throw that. Jeter would have got that base knock all day. Jeter would have got that base knock. At least put the ball in play. But, Schmidt's got to get a quality start, get to that bullpen, that strength. Aaron Judge has to get going. That's a must for the series, because that just protects Juan Soto, and Soto's been out of his mind. No, there's no comparison. You can't compare to Derek Jeter. I'm sorry, not this early. Maybe he gets there, but no comparison. But I thank you everybody for joining in tonight. Please like, comment, subscribe. As always, we always appreciate comments. Pedro. Oh. Well, the one guy I wanted was Tito. I wanted Terry Francona. But I'll hit that more. I'm fired up. Sure, I appreciate it, Pedro. Babs. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Go Yanks! Let's Game 3 tomorrow, Game 4 Tuesday, Game 5 Wednesday, 8:08 Eastern. Go Yanks! This is On Deck here on FTSN. You guys have a good night. I'm Russ Morgan.